Fishful Thinker Television, brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. Coldwell Banker, every day until it's sold.
St. Croix Rod, the best rods on earth.
Evinrude, spend more time on the water.
Good morning. Welcome to Fishful Thinker. I'm Chad LaChance. Joining me today, Mr. Troy Coburn. If you're a fan of the show, hopefully you've seen Troy on our show before. Welcome to Fishful Thinker, Mr.
Thanks,
Coburn,
Chad.
once again.
Pleasure to be here again.
Today's show is going to be interesting. Today is the final step in evolution of a bass angler. This is part 3. In the last 2 weeks, we showed you evolution part 1, where we had walking around a pond with a spinning rod learning to bass fish. Then we had evolution part 2. We were in the little tiny boat and we were out in a pond. We had 3 rods and learned a little bit more. Well, today we're the fully evolved bass angler. This is step 3. We're putting it all together and becoming a highly skilled bass angler. Few better examples of that than right here, Mr. Troy Coburn. We're on Lake Wilson in Kansas. What do you expect out of the day?
I expect to catch fish.
One thing about an evolved bass angler, you expect to catch them. We're going to treat this like a tournament day. We're going to problem solve the lake. I've never been here. He's been here, but it's been a long time. We're going to problem solve the lake. We're going to put all of our presentation skills, our fish location skills, and all of our equipment to good use. This is going to be fun. If you want to learn to bass fish, this is going to be the show for you. Let's get after him.
Yeah.
All right. Couple things about learning to evolve as a bass angler. One of the things that happens commonly is folks go to different lakes. They travel. So here we are in central Kansas on Lake Wilson. We left Denver, we drove out here, and it's because to really advance your skills, you got to get on different kinds of water. This is a very classic highland impoundment. We're going to get out and spend some time on this lake, but part of the evolution is stepping up your equipment, it's stepping up the size of the lakes you visit. It makes the problem solving a little bit different, but fundamentally it's very similar to the other kinds of bass fishing. We're going to try to establish a pattern. We're going to look at varying water depths. Once we get a pattern put together and we know the depth range, we'll put that to work over the day. What do you got there?
Big largemouth.
Oh man!
Big largemouth.
Nice work! I told you he was a fully evolved bass angler. Now, we're getting started. I mean, we hadn't been fishing. Nice work, Mr. Coburn.
Wilson!
Wilson! We're on Lake Wilson in Kansas. I haven't even rigged. If you look, I haven't even rigged. We launched the boat right here, 100 yards from here. Troy says, oh, there's a beaver pile over here. Fished his conditions, put a Texas rig on, which we showed you in the other steps, and stuck a probably
That's
good
a
4-pounder.
4 pounds, yeah.
Right off the bat. Troy, that's a way to get our day
Beauty.
going. We have not been here 15 minutes, guys, and that's a hog. Let me hold that rod for
Thank you, sir.
A couple other things about this. Go ahead and put that fish back, because we don't want to keep any fish out of the water around here. You know, that's just, oh, that's nice, Troy. That, give me some more for that one. That's why we brought him along. This guy represents what a bass angler can be and still be not a professional. Now, you're not a professional, he has a real job, but club level tournaments, state champion, club champion, started out of a little boat, started walking banks and ponds.
Started in a 14-foot aluminum boat.
There you go.
That was my first boat. And graduated up to an 18-foot bass boat. Now I got a 21-foot bass boat.
Yep, full tournament.
250 horses.
Yep.
Yep.
Perfect. There's your St. Croix back, sir. That was beautiful. I'm sitting down here rigging, not even paying attention. Boom, he's sticking fish. So good stuff. Now, normally I would have been prepared. We travel around. Troy was brigging while I was getting ready to host the show earlier, so he got a jump on me there. But we've been traveling around and doing quite a bit of fishing. I'm putting a jig on that matches my conditions. Meanwhile, he already had a Texas rig on and got it done. So great, great fish.
Right on.
Good way to get us going. Oh, man, that's 2 on the same pile. Are you kidding me? I haven't even made a cast yet. I literally haven't even made a cast yet. And dude just stuck another one right here. Are you kidding, Mr. Coburn? Homie came to play. Holy cow. Dude, this is not someone you want to fish against in a bass tournament right here. That's another beautiful
That's a good 3 right there. Good 3-pounder.
Holy smokes. I haven't even made a cast. Don't ever sit down in your boat and start tying stuff on when this guy's fishing right there. Now, we haven't left the Marina Cove yet. We sat in a hotel last night. Troy and I sat there talking. Troy's like, well, I know this beaver hut in the back of this cove. Hadn't been there in 8 years, is that right?
Yeah, it's been about 8 years.
Oh, what a great catch. So he's telling us about this beaver hut in the back of this cove as we're sitting in the hotel. And well, we'll just run back there and we'll catch some fish first thing. Well, I'm tying lures on and he's catching fish. Dude, that is good stuff right there. Perfect execution, perfect prediction of where fish would be based on our water temperature and all that. Absolutely money. You can see the beaver hut right here. We'll pan over and get that beaver hut. We've talked about this as the evolutionary process. We've got rock, we've got wood, we've got tons of cover right here, which we've talked about. We've got tons of structure, basically this steep little valley, big cover on here, and holding some gorgeous largemouth. Now, if I could just get my tackle rig, maybe I could catch one. In that cover right there.
Like I just said.
Now, folks.
That's textbook.
We still have not. Now, this one ain't as big as Troy's, but I'm going to take him right this minute because I'm just happy to actually make 2 casts in a row without him catching one. Beautiful little chunky largemouth, beautiful color on him. He ain't much for size, but it's a beautiful fish one way or the other. And probably a barely legal keeper. We're gonna put him back right quick. I'm gonna kiss this one. And I'm doing that because I need all the luck I can get, folks. I am not kidding you. Straight worm, or the soft stick worm, is all the rage in bass fishing these days, and it's typified by like a gulp sinking minnow or maybe a heavyweight sink worm. It's an excellent way to catch bass, and then an angler has a few rigging options when it comes to that. The first and the most common rig in all of bass fishing is a Texas rig, where we use a wide gap hook like this. We stick in the nose of the bait and out the side, rotate it around, and you'll see here it's very simple. I'll get it nice and straight, and then we'll stick the hook right through it and skin it right here. Now this bait's extremely weedless. I can throw it anywhere I need to throw it and get the bass out of the heavy cover. If I've got more open water or steeper situations, steeper banks or isolated rock piles, something like that, then I like a wacky rig where I've got an octopus hook like this, and I stick it right through the middle of my worm, and now I've got a bait that hangs horizontal like that. It looks crazy. It's called a wacky rig for a reason, but believe me, it's an excellent way to catch a lot of bass, particularly in vertical presentations. If you consider the most basic Texas rig and the wacky rig in your angling, you'll catch more fish. Fish right here. No, he spit it. There he is, he's on it.
Nice. Oh, nice.
Nice, there we go with the braided line. Long throw, beautiful fish. Looks like a spotted bass, actually.
Oh, yeah. You can handle that one up.
In the morning sun. Nice. Now this is that same spinning rod we used in Evolution 2 when we got our second rod. We got the heavier spinning rod as well. And with the heavy braided line, we can handle that. There you go, right there. There's that heavyweight sink worm right there, completely unweighted. We've been using that unweighted rig since we started the evolutionary process. It's the same Texas rig we started. Now he's not a monster, but we're real happy to have him. Now, one thing that's important, we've got this heavier spinning rod out that we talked about when we got our second spinning rod. I still think a spinning rod's a great tool. Casting rods are wonderful. I love them when we use tons of them, and as a fully evolved angler, you'll use lots and lots of them. But don't discount. I told you in the beginning, the spinning rod's gonna be an important tool. I've got heavy braided line on here. I can cast this completely unweighted bait a very long ways, and I just got a hook set from like 60 or 70 feet out, which would be tough to do with anything but braided line. So, good catch, not a monster, but we're happy to have him. He fits our pattern. We're fishing some shallow cover back here in Wilson Lake, and we'll keep fishing. I bet we can keep catching. Fish right here. Got him.
Smallie.
Yeah. Now that one was out deeper, and it's our first brown fish of the morning. And we're gonna pull him up in here. A little good, decent little smallie. Now there's kind of a textbook thing about that because these largemouth we've been seeing are real shallow. And I worked this bait a little bit deeper, and there's that same pop trick we taught you in the first show. Big fat little smallie on there, gorgeous fish, not quite as big as maybe we're looking for, but we're putting our morning together. Now, there's shallow stick-ups all in here. It's a spawning type pocket. We're a little ahead of the spawn. We expect fish will move in here to spawn. Water temperature's right around 60 degrees, and it's fishing to your conditions. It's glass calm, so I've got an unweighted, very subtle type, very natural bait, relatively clear water in here. And again, the braided line, get the big hook set, and good fun right there. Now, we've been talking about the evolution of a bass angler, and what exactly is the evolutionary process, and what exactly are we doing different than we did before. Basically, we're out, first of all, we're in a 21-foot tournament grade competition boat. Do you have to have a boat like this to be an evolved bass angler? No, but what you do need to have is a boat capable of getting you around the size of the lake that you want, and maybe equipped with a few key features. Troy here's got also a tournament grade boat like this. I believe yours is a 250 horse, 21 footer as well.
Right.
And that's kind of state of the art right now. And that's what the top tournament guys are running around the country, is a 20 or 21 footer with a 250 on it. And it's a great platform. Huge casting decks for one. You know, we were out in Evolution 2 in the little baby boat, and yes, you can get around in it, but here you can move around. We're two guys dancing basically on the front deck, moving around each other, trying to fish some of this cover. How much do you think your bass angling evolved when you got it from a little boat to a boat that you could actually run around and start looking at a 12,000 acre lake?
Well, a lot. First of all, the mobility is huge. You can get from point A to point B 5 miles apart. You can be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, you can go highway speeds on that. And secondly, when you're working on a platform like this, a big, flat, wide platform with low gunnels that you're not constantly banging into, it helps you concentrate more on your fishing than what's going on around you, around your feet. You're not watching where you're stepping as much, and it just puts you in a more comfortable environment.
Absolutely. I think the mobility is a really key part of that as well. A boat could be anywhere from 17 to 22 feet, but it needs to have enough motor to get around at a reasonable speed and safely, and most likely with 2 anglers in the boat most of the time, maybe 3. So that's where a bass boat will really help you out.
Right.
Another key thing about having a boat like this is the ability to store a bunch of tackle in it. And you know, when you're walking the bank like we did in Evolution 1, it's kind of cumbersome to carry stuff, so you bring 1 rod. Then you get in a little boat, it's a little easier to carry, so we had 3 rods. Here, we can put 20 rods inside these rod lockers inside this boat. So we carry lots of tackle. What does having extra tackle, what does having the multiple rods do for you?
Versatility. It increases your versatility. Many times when you're walking around a small lake, all of a sudden you figure out the bite is different than what you have with you. In your bass boat, there's no excuses. You have it all with you. It's basically a $50,000 tackle box.
Don't tell my wife that. Yeah, it's a serious tackle box. That's a great way to do it. It's a fast tackle box as well.
Yes, it is.
So one other really important aspect of a tournament grade boat, or any boat really, if you're going to evolve into a good bass angler, is your electronics. This boat's equipped with Lowrance electronics. We have side finding capability with the LSS1 structure scan module. We have down scanning capability. We have perfect GPS tracking, so we know where our fish are, how to get back to our fish. We have 3D mapping of the whole lake, so we can look at that map on the electronics and know exactly where we want to go and what to expect when we get there.
Right.
How heavily do you rely on your electronics?
Especially when I'm fishing water deeper than 10 feet, I live and die by my electronics. You really, really need to take the time when you get a boat to learn how to use your electronics. Go out one day without any gear in the boat and just really force yourself to learn how to use them, because a lot of times it's those subtleties that your electronics will pick up that you cannot see with the naked eye that will make all of the difference in the world.
Absolutely, I agree with that 100%. And here in the Western United States, fishing water greater than 10 feet deep is fairly common. This definitely isn't Texas where our show airs, or Florida where I grew up with, so electronics are key. In Evolution 1, we had 1 rod. In Evolution 2, we had 3 rods. Now we have lots of rods. What do you think is the most important, some of the key rods you have to have in terms of length and action? We're both St. Croix junkies, and we've been both fishing St. Croix for a long time, and that's not by coincidence. We both very much believers in their products. But beyond the brand, lengths and actions, let's say you're picking 6 total rods, quickly, we don't need to hear all the details, but give me a quick rundown. What are some really key lengths and actions you gotta have?
I think probably the most versatile rod in your tackle box on the bait casting side is going to be a 6.6 medium heavy. You can use it for almost anything. It may be a little light for some things, but you can get away with it. It might be a little heavy for some things, but you can get away with it. Yep. And it's a less specialized rod.
I would agree with that. I love that one. Another one I like is a 7-foot medium heavy. It's very similar to the other rods, a little bit less accurate, but I can pitch with it really good. I can flip with it as well. That's a really key rod to me. A rod we carried from Evolution 2 is a medium heavy, 6'6" medium heavy spinning rod with a braid on it, because I can present very light baits and I can skip baits with that as well, and yet still have the tackle I need to get those fish out.
On the spinning side, 6'8", medium, extra fast, the most versatile rod, especially on the spinning side, that St. Croix makes.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more, and that's probably my favorite of the St. Croix altogether.
It's my favorite as well on the spinning side, absolutely.
And then the last one for me, and you'll probably agree with on this, is going to be a 7 or 7.5 foot medium action rod that you can throw crankbaits with of some sort. A rod that's a little bit softer that you can throw a lipless crankbait like maybe a rattle trap, or a lipped crankbait like maybe a flicker shad or something like that. That a rod you throw as well?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Absolutely.
All the time.
Another real quick thing about the rods, your sensitivity rods need to be the ones you're going to pitch with or flip with or drag your jigs around with. So that's where you want to really spend your money. If you're really trying to budget, spend the money on the rods that need the sensitivity. So the weightless baits, the baits that you're going to present and expect light bites. Your crankbait rods, your things like that, that bait's coming to you, a fish bites it, you're going to know it doesn't have to be quite as sensitive.
Right, I agree 100%.
There you go. So there you have it. From the Bassmaster herself, some of the key rods you got to have in your boat as you evolve as a bass angler. Thanks, Troy. Let's go put those rods to use.
Let's do it.
There you got him that time. How many? Now that's 15 plus, that's a 2-pounder nothing. I told you that fish was bigger than 2 pounds. We've been messing with this fish, folks, for, I got him for you right here, buddy. I got him. You got him?
Yeah.
Don't let him get you in the trolling motor here. That would not be an evolved thing to do. Yeah, 2-pounder. If that's a 2-pounder, we need new scales.
There he is, brother.
Nice. Now,
Patience paid off.
what, 20 minutes trying to catch that one fish. We've seen him cruising right here. He's not spawning yet, but he's definitely thinking about the spawn.
Yeah, he's
holding down an area.
He's holding on that little piece of cover right there, so.
What had to happen is we had to get the boat farther away and then make long throws. This water is very shallow. In fact, we'll put the fish back now.
All
Get the boat, or I'll get the boat and you can put the fish
All
back.
right, that'll work.
But
And what a pretty fish. You can tell he's been up shallow for a few days. Look how black that line is.
Yep, got a real dark lateral line. You can
pretty
see how
fish.
clear the water is. Troy, that is good stuff right there. Great catch.
Yep.
Maybe he ain't big as he looked.
That's a good
Big old
smallmouth.
smallmouth.
It's a good smallmouth.
Yep, we'll take him.
Okay,
Come on
buddy.
around over here. Oh, I foul hooked him.
Oh.
That's why he felt big. Oh, I got lucky on that one, folks. He swam out there a good ways with it, and I got a little bit lucky. Come here, stay on there, buddy. Nice, big old brown bass, and look at that. Got lucky on that one. He dropped it when I reeled down on him, and there's that heavyweight sinkworm, and there's a beautiful brown one. Beautiful, beautiful. So we're just blind casting our way in here. And you know, very, very simple. Just paying attention, being quiet and sneaky with the boat in these calm conditions. Big, heavy boat, you gotta sneak in here. That's the way to get them. That heavyweight sinkworm right here, great bait. I do have a little jig head on it. And the reason being is I wanted the wire weed guard as much as anything. Troy's been fishing his wacky rig, and I've been fishing mine Texas rig. And it wasn't getting as many bites. So I took the jig head out with little wire weed guard on it, and lo and behold, we got her done. That's some serious cover right there. Beautiful stuff. Now, one thing as you evolve as a bass angler, you're gonna learn, and that's a propensity for grass. Bass and grass go together perfect. Learning to decipher the kinds of grass that the fish like to live in, like for instance, this one that Troy's yanking out of there. You find the right kind of grass, and you're gonna catch fish.
Oh yeah, good one. Good one.
Yep.
Good one.
He ain't that big. It's a decent one though, and I'll take him. He's got me in the grass. Oops, sorry, buddy. I tripped over the trolling motor. Have fun. Now, this is what they always feel bigger when you bring in their habitat with them too. That's why you use the braid, guys, right there. Now, that's why you use the braided line right there. When you're gonna pull in the habitat they live in, along with the hook, which just fell out, and there's the 4-inch Berkeley Power Pro tube right there, and the And the weight, we've been going back and forth between that and the lizard. We got some hardware, and he's no monster, but I guarantee you that on any kind of light line, that would not have happened. That was a probably 40-foot pitch into heavy wood, and we got him out. Fish right here, fish, fish. Got him. Come out of there, baby. Come out of there. Troy, you got the goat rope out. I got him on the big braided line. Bring him over here. Nice one right there. Get him, Mr. Coburn.
He's got the hook in the bottom.
Nice.
Look at that. Barely.
Barely got him. Nice. That's it right there, baby. Heavy, heavy, heavy cover. Real subtle bite way back up in there. 50-pound Fireline tracer braid. We're gonna give it a kiss and put it back. Watch, see if we can get her to jump. Watch this. This one's played too. See that catch and release on its jaw right there? Okay, ready? Jump, baby. Nope, not this time. Beautiful, beautiful catch. Now, that's the 6-inch power lizard right out of the Pro Pack. Got a little rattle on the front of it, got a heavy Superline hook on there, 50-pound Fireline tracer braid right in the bushes. That's the way you get a shallow bass out. Definitely that's the sign of an evolved bass angler. And Troy, and on that note, I think that we've got our 5, which is the goal of the tournament always.
Yep.
We've done some culling. It's hard to get any more fun than fishing cattails. It's a beautiful sunny morning, everything's good. So we want to thank you guys for watching, Troy. I want to thank you for the bass lesson once again. Pay attention to your skills, evolve as a bass angler. You too will continue to have a great time out in the outdoors. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Another night. Oh. When you're a fully evolved bass angler, you learn to use all the guides on your rod. This guide right here, this one doesn't count. Oh, that's a cable. Fish, 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 fish. Oh. Hey, this is fishing. This is serious stuff now. You keep it serious. That's right. That's right. Prim and proper at all times.